My best friend, Alex 32 male, and I 32 male, have been friends since diapers. We're basically family. After college, we both moved back home to live at home and get our feet underneath us. Alex started dating Stella, 35, a lovely girl, around 4.5 years ago. And from the get-go, she seemed to politely dislike me. I don't know why. Oh well, c'est la vie. Alex and Stella moved across the country in 2021 after Stella earned a promotion at work. In 2022, Alex proposed. She said yes, and they set a wedding date for the end of September 2023. I got a save the date card at the beginning of the year. Based on my conversations with Alex, I assumed I would be in the wedding party, either as a groomsman or the best man. Still, I never received any official confirmation from either of them. A couple months before the wedding, I saw that invitations had gone out on social media and figured mine was en route. It never came. I waited a couple of weeks and figured it might have gotten lost in the mail before I checked in with him. I called Alex and had a brief conversation with him where he was clearly agitated and said he was dealing with a lot, would be incommunicado for the near future to direct any wedding-related questions to Stella, and he'd call me when things cooled off. I called, texted, and emailed Stella several times over the course of a week, but she didn't respond to any of them. At this point, I decided I wouldn't be attending the wedding, and things were messed up between us. Yesterday, a little over 3 weeks after our last conversation, Alex DM'd me, asking if I was free to chat. I jumped at the opportunity to get some answers. After exchanging pleasantries, Alex jumped right into a spiel, saying that he knew I was super busy with work and dealing with a lot of personal stuff. Still, he'd love it if I could attend his wedding, even as just a guest, and he wanted to know if he could do anything to help make that happen. I just blurted out that I'd love to, but hadn't received an invitation. Alex stared blankly at me and said, "What?" I just kind of verbally vomited out that I hadn't received an invitation. That was the reason I called him a few weeks ago, that I'd contacted Stella about it, but she never got back to me and left me on red, and that I had no idea what he was talking about, me dealing with too many things to be involved in the wedding. After a very pregnant pause, he said he needed to sort things out, and he'd call me when he was done. My phone has been blowing up since, with wedding attendees asking me what the heck happened and why the wedding might be off now. My girlfriend has reaffirmed to me that I did nothing wrong, but I've had people from all sides saying I stuck my nose where it didn't belong and caused a stink, which is really messing with my head. It was mostly extended family calling, and Alex's immediate family was just confused. Am I the idiot for telling my best friend why I wasn't attending his wedding? This mix-up wasn't an honest mistake. Look at what he said. Those are the words of someone that's been lied to and sold a bill of goods about your attending the wedding. And what's this about Alex being in the process of inviting you? The bride and groom make the guest list together, send out invitations, and see how many can come. That's it. In your case, Alex wanted to invite you, but Stella said, "Oh, he's not sure he can come. He's swamped with work," etc., etc., when in reality, you weren't even invited. If everything's been blown up, it's because Alex discovered the truth about Stella, what she did, and what she's really like. And people saying you stuck your nose where it didn't belong are just trying to cover for Stella. Not your fault, not the idiot. It also sounds like Alex had wanted him to be there as more than a guest, and because of Stella's lies, that didn't happen. The fact that the entire wedding might be called off makes me think Alex just put the pieces together that Stella may have done this to more than one of his friends, and that's why he sounded so desperate when he reached out to OP, having no idea why so many of his other friends were too busy to attend his wedding. He also moved cross-country after his promotion. Can you imagine him going through the RSVPs and seeing gaps where his friends and family should be? How many of his family and friends got the save the dates, but no invite? This is a real red flag if she lies to him about who can come to their wedding. I will guarantee you that Stella lied to him. The wedding is off because he caught her in her lie. My parents are divorced. Together they have my brother, 20, my sister, 19, and me, nearly adult, male. Their marriage ended because my mom had 2 affairs. The first one came out when the second one did, because both were happening at the same time, and my mom got pregnant with the baby who's now a female tween. Dad ended the marriage, and Mom tried to make him responsible for her baby with another guy. She and Dad were married, so he was the assumed dad, and he had to go to court. There was a 2-year battle over this because he wanted nothing to do with the baby, and Mom didn't want her to grow up watching my older siblings. I have a dad, while both her affair partners went AWOL and were refusing to play any role in her life, and said no to doing DNA tests. Dad won in court and was removed from my half-sister's birth certificate. He's never met her and is ensured there's no contact between them. 5 years ago, Mom got very sick and was in the hospital for 3 months. My half-sister spent that time in foster care because our parents were told they were too sick, multiple chronic health issues between them, to take care of her when they had no idea how long my mom would be out of commission. They asked Dad to step up, but he said no. They tried to plead with my siblings and me to talk him around, but none of us wanted him to take her either. When my mom got out and got my half-sister back, she and my grandparents had a deep grudge against my dad. We already didn't think much of Mom, but after that, we asked Dad to try and get full custody of us. But when we were interviewed, we mentioned the affair, and we were asked whether Dad tried to turn us against Mom, and we decided to keep 50-50 to not get him into trouble. I'm months away from getting away from my mom. My siblings already are. Mom had people over recently, and my grandparents were there. They were talking badly about my dad, saying he was evil and that he left his own daughter to rot in foster care. And I told them she wasn't his daughter, and DNA proved that. They backtracked and said he left his kid's sister to rot. I said she has nothing to do with him. Then I called them out for being idiots to him when Mom cheated on him with 2 guys and fought to make him responsible for her child. I said they all blamed Dad instead of wondering why nobody was willing to take my half-sister when needed, and none of them could. Others heard the whole thing. My mom and grandparents said I was an idiot. Am I? Not the idiot. You didn't say anything that wasn't true. The truth hurts. That's probably why they were so upset, because they knew you were right. Speaking out isn't even a fraction of the horrible stuff your mother tried to pull on your father. The good news is, in a year, you won't have to deal with them anymore. But wow, your poor little sister. I feel so sorry for her. It's heartbreaking that nearly everyone in this child's life has rejected her, all because of how she was conceived. It's a shame for the half-sister, though, having to be in foster care, but to blame your father rather than the deadbeats and trying to manipulate you guys into talking him into taking her was truly an idiot move on the grandparents' part. Yeah, it's devastating for the poor kid, but utterly shameful that the people who should be working hardest to protect and support her are concentrating on ripping down someone with no obligation to protect and support her instead. OP, you are very brave, and you sound like quite a moral person. I wish you all the best in life. Keep your integrity, and may the coming years be more peaceful. I just got a job offer in a different state. My husband works in a fly-in, fly-out camp, so it won't affect his work. However, my new job adds nearly $30,000 a year more to our budget. My in-laws live in a different state already and make an effort to see our kids. However, we currently live 8 blocks from my parents, and they're losing it. They say I'm a horrible son for moving their grandchildren away from them, and they have grandparents' rights and all that. I told them I would be willing to change my family's plans so long as they made up the difference between what I currently earn and my new job. I was even willing to go net. I wasn't asking them for my gross earnings, just the after-tax difference. They said expecting them to pay to see their grandchildren was ridiculous. I asked them if they thought my in-laws didn't pay for their flights when they visited. They said that that's different. I don't think it is. Just because my parents can walk to my house, they think that seeing the kids isn't an effort for everyone else. My siblings have called me to say I'm an idiot for demanding money from our parents to see the children. I offered to let them pay me the money I'd be losing if I didn't take the new job. Then they figured out my parents didn't tell them the entire story. Now there's a big family fight because one has a job that may require him to move, and my brother will likely move after he completes his post-grad. I don't actually want my parents' money. I want them to understand the money that they're asking me to give up. Not the idiot. And grandparents' rights are not a thing, except in extreme situations. If a child is left orphaned and grandparents have a right to seek custody, they're free to come visit you whenever, I'm assuming. And if they care that much, why don't they move to your new town? I get that you're not actually asking them for the money, but making them realize you can't give up this job opportunity just so they can live close. Also, the fact that they threatened the grandparents' rights crap makes them huge idiots. If they're willing to threaten to take children away from their parents simply because they don't get their way, then they shouldn't have access to those kids. It's not the 1950s anymore, and we don't have grandparents and parents and kids living in the same household or town anymore. With the modern economy, the nuclear family is now the norm and not the exception. You have a fantastic opportunity for a new job with much better pay. The only people who can make the decision on whether or not to pursue that opportunity are you and your spouse. If they can't understand that, they're selfishly expecting you to tailor your lives around them instead of doing what's best for you and your children. My daughter, Ella, 26, is a doctor. She works very hard and is very talented. She spent most of her life with her mother, but took up a position at a hospital near me and so moved in with me. She doesn't own a car currently, but I've insured her to drive mine so she can use it to get to work. Ella worked many continuous 12-hour shifts and finally got a day off today. She's exhausted, but had an errand to run. She ordered a new pair of designer trainers, but neither of us was home when they arrived, and so they were left at a delivery center nearby for her to collect. There's a bus stop about a 5-minute walk from my place, and the bus stops outside the delivery center. It's about a 20-minute journey. Ella asked if she could borrow the car to pick up the shoes. I said no. I only use the car to get to work if I have to carry many things. I don't use the car anywhere within walking distance or a short journey on public transport. Ella got upset and argued that she's too tired and on her feet all day for several days. She said she's not the sort of person who uses public transport. Her mother and their family are extremely well off. Ella went to a very prestigious private school. Unfortunately, they also have certain attitudes towards people not as fortunate, one of which is that public transport is used by unsuccessful people. When she talked about not being the sort of person who uses it, I said that she needs to get that snobby private school attitude out of her head if she wants to get anywhere in life. She swore at me and stormed off, but did go on the bus to get the shoes. While she was gone, Ella's mother called me shouting at me for making our daughter's life difficult and accusing me of trying to hold her back, etc. She said I should show that I care, that she's worked so hard at the hospital. I accept that I shouldn't have said that private school comment, but Ella isn't so tired she can't brave a 5-minute walk to the bus stop. I don't want her to be reliant on the car when there are other ways to get where she needs to go. Am I the idiot? She needs to get that snobby private school attitude out of her head if she wants to get anywhere in life. She's a doctor, you moron. She's already gotten somewhere in life. Her attitude towards people who take public transportation might suck, but she's an adult who can take responsibility for her own actions. If her attitude comes back to bite her later on, that's her problem, not yours. She asked for the car because, as an adult who makes adult decisions, she chose to drive to pick up her package after a long day at work. You're treating her like a spoiled teenager who needs to be put in her place. You are the idiot. She's a doctor who has a condescending attitude about other people. She's certainly gotten somewhere in life where that attitude can have terrible outcomes for people left in her care. And as an adult who makes adult decisions, She can get her own car if she wants to drive to get that package. Being an adult who makes adult decisions doesn't mean the car isn't OP's and he doesn't get to choose when it's used. Oh, and this lady called her mom because her dad wouldn't let her use the car. She's not a doctor. She's a child. OP's not the idiot. I disagree. She called her mom because her mom knows what an idiot her dad is and is the right person to commiserate with. No matter how snobbish Ellie's comments sounded, a doctor who works multiple 12-hour shifts, helping people, deserves some comfort on her rare day off. Public transport is uncomfortable. It takes time to walk there, to wait for it, depending on the timetable, and then do it again on the way back. Strangers on the bus can be loud, rude, smelly, make inappropriate comments, or try to touch you. Nothing would have happened to your precious car should you allow your daughter, a hardworking medical professional, to take a short ride on her day off. I'm a surgical fellow, kind of like a resident, and I work 7 a.m. to whenever, sometimes earlier, like 4 p.m., sometimes later, like 7 p.m., but usually home between 5 and 7 p.m. She isn't working right now, and she's just studying for her exam. I personally think to an excessive amount. She's a type A, and I'm worried she'll fail when she's never failed an exam in her life. Our young toddler daughter attends daycare from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have an au pair to help out. Hours are set at my wife's discretion because I'm not the one responsible for the kid right now. So since she's not working, she's been doing all the chores. When I get home, I just want to rest, and I figured she had all day with plenty of time off and hired help. She could help manage the household chores. She can't work for a few more weeks or months, unknown exactly when, due to licensing issues. She's threatened to move back and take our baby. There are some issues because I work every day, and that would mean I would rarely get to see either of them. And I signed a lease for 3 adults in 3 bedrooms, which is more than my salary. Am I the idiot for making my unemployed wife do the chores and childcare? Edit. We're both residents. Her exam is a board exam for medicine, so it's one giant cumulative exam covering 4 years of medical school and 4 years of residency. She had to give up her $400K job and then some bonus to move. So being unemployed is due to my career move. She's contributing more than 50% to the family expenses and uses her savings. She pays for the daycare and the au pair, and she has way more money than me. She said she's tired of being my mom and my servant. Because I'm not the one responsible for the kid right now? Sure, man, when's it gonna be? After college? She gave up her lucrative job to move with you to yours, pays for all the childcare, does chores, financially contributes to the household, and is studying for a major exam. So everything is taken care of, and you dare to call her unemployed like she's a slacker? JFC, you are the idiot, OP. You need to grovel so much. Your relationship is about to end otherwise. You are the idiot, especially at how blasé you are with all the sacrifices she's made for you. You intentionally used her unemployment status as an excuse to contribute nothing to childcare or housework. Still, you left the fact that she pays 50% of the household expenses until the end. This means her studies are her job, and she contributes equally. So why do you feel entitled to a free pass? You sound insufferable. So exactly what are you, dude, contributing to the relationship? If she left you, she could make $400K, pay for the daycare and au pair easily and out of salary instead of savings, and have fewer chores to do. If the only benefit of being with you is that she loves you, at least be worthy of that love by helping with your own child. The way Adele's Divorce Babe Divorce immediately played in my mind reading this crap. LMFAO,